we'll talk about here in a second. So we should be recording, is that right?
Yep.
All right.
See the flashing red light.
Cool. All right, so welcome to the Salt Lake City virtual mug meeting for the month of October here for Salt Lake. So we appreciate everybody joining us today. And if if this is your first time, we appreciate having you here. So looks like I stopped sharing there again, so we'll share that again. Anyway, so we're here. We also appreciate Drift being our sponsor today. We'll be hearing from them a little bit. Of course, they actually have some some giveaways as well today, so we appreciate them being part of the discussion. All right, so really quickly, we have some housekeeping items, agenda items that we'll go through. We have actually a new tool that we're using, and we're going to kind of test that to make sure everybody knows how to use it. And then we're going to do what we call Marketo shorts, kind of start off with that, some quick tips and tricks that you may or may not know, or if you do know, you may have forgotten. And then we'll jump into our panel discussion. Is really what everybody's here for, is to how to fight back against database decay. And then this is going to be an engaging, because it's a panel, it's engaging, so we need people to talk questions along those lines from that standpoint. So make sure you participate, but hopefully the new tool will show you that we're going to play around with that will provide that level of engagement from that standpoint. And then we'll talk about the drawings. So that's kind of the plan today for our next 43 minutes or so, or 53 minutes. All right, really quickly, just as you know, even though we're not in person, we're just virtual. We still want this to be a good, safe place to learn and to collaborate and enjoyable, and also keep it professional. That's why I have my Go Blue behind me. Go Blue, Big Ten. Gotta love it. And Big Ten starts this weekend, so we gotta love that too. By the way, college game days at Michigan and University of Minnesota, just as an FYI. So so if you're into college football, that's where they're holding it at this week. So I love that. Anyway, so everybody's welcome, and we do welcome some people like Michael Tucker, who basically joins every virtual mug that there is in the world, but it's good. He's all over the place, so we appreciate him being with us, and others that might be joining us from other mugs from that standpoint. So really quickly, so what are some upcoming opportunities that we have from the mugs folks along those lines? If you have not seen it yet, the applications for the 2021 Marketo Champion, Engaged Champion programs are now open. So if you have an interest to be a Marketo Champion or a Marketo Engaged Champion, add the extra word into there, that the applications are now open through November 20th, Friday, November 20th. So that's about 3-4 weeks away. So feel free to apply and submit that. So a lot from that standpoint. If you have any questions, there's an email address there. You can submit along those lines. But here's the link, and there's a couple of blogs out there. And if you're on LinkedIn and other social areas, I'm sure that you've probably got people promoting this across the board. So, and we'll also have this available to post as well. In addition to that, because this year, and Andrew can actually jump in to kind of provide some feedback as well, but because he knows where this is going to, the summit is now virtual. Virtual is now summit for 2021. So we're all not going to show up in Vegas this next year. Adobe's already said that they're going to make this a virtual event. So they moved from that standpoint, and lots involved with doing virtual events, right, Andrew?
So much. Yeah, like I don't think, anyway, long story, but yes, a lot.
Yeah, so if everybody knows about Roots Tech or has heard about Roots Tech, they're going virtual this year. And so Andrew's part of that team that's doing that. So he is, if his hair looks thinner in the next 6 months, we'll know why.
Oh my gosh. So hard to pull off a global conference that's virtual with, we're probably going to have 250,000 attendees. So yeah, it's going to be intense.
As we talked about, so feel free to sign up for that one and participate and know what's going on from that perspective, but it's going to be over a course of, it looks like 2-3 days, all virtual. So take a look at it, see what's more information along those lines and the registration and all that fun stuff. In addition to that, As I mentioned, because all of the mugs these days are all virtual, feel free to don't just limit yourself just to the Salt Lake one, even though we'd love to have you be with us along those lines. But if there's other topics and other mugs out there with other topics and points that are of interest to you, or you want to learn a little bit more about, feel free to actually join those across the board. I know I pick on Michael a lot because he jumps around to all these points, but he handles kind of a couple of the virtual mugs as well. And I've attended 3 or 4 of them myself. So it's kind of fun to kind of see other topics, other people, meet other people along those lines. So it's a great opportunity from that standpoint. So if you just go to where you register for our events, you just look under in the Bevy tool and look at the calendar of events. You can look at it as a list, or in this case, it pull up a visual of the calendar format. You see everything that's going on. Like for instance, on the 21st today, there are basically 4 events going on today, right? So, so there's not a lack of areas for knowledge and sharing of information and learning stuff from that standpoint. So feel free to join those. So there's nothing stopping you from doing that. And plus, you know, if they have giveaways, you're in the race for the giveaways too, right? So you can't beat that. Little bonus. Speaking of giveaways, we're excited. Like as I mentioned, Drift is our sponsor today. We're grateful to be them. We're going to hear from them shortly here on the panel. But they're providing a swag bag. So we're going to have one lucky winner that have a swag bag, which includes some merchandise, T-shirts, marketing books, materials, and lots more, is what I've been told from the marketing person there. Her name's Caitlin. So she's been helping us out with that standpoint. So anyway, so stay tuned, and at the end, we'll draw one of those winners from that standpoint. And a bonus is that all attendees will get access to a copy of Drift's High Performance Email Marketing Toolkit. So it's all digital version, so you'll be able to take that one and download that and have access to that as well. So we'll be sending you out the link to not only the recording of the event, but also then to, you'll get a link to the toolkit as well that you can download from the standpoint. So make sure you stick around for that one. And if that's not enough, because it is the time for seasons and providing treats and along those lines, Marketo is, we're going to give away 3 $20 gift cards as well, digital gift cards to 3 additional winners. So, so it's kind of a fun little giveaway time frame today. So by hanging on with us, that you all are in the running to do that, with the exception of myself and Andrew and our panelists, unfortunately. So sorry, Kate and Lynn, you know, so. But so stick around with us from that standpoint. Now that being said, so if that's not enough, we're actually going to try out a new tool here. It's a tool called Slideto. It's been referred to a couple of other mugs that have used it in the past. It's kind of a fun little tool. We think it might have some fun. So if everybody is at your desktop, so now this is kind of where you kind of have to be engaged. So if you're at your desktop or on your tablet or phone, whatever the case may be, device, go to Slido, SLIDO.com. So when you get there, you're going to type in on the page, you're going to say, join as a participant. You're going to go in there and you're going to type this ID number, 97164. So we need everybody to do this, because this is going to be kind of how you're going to be engaging, and you'll be able to actually submit some of these polls, or kind of look at some of the polls and results of that one. So this is kind of how we're going to capture some information along those lines. So once again, Slido.com. And you'll go here, you see on the screen here, this join as participant, type in the code 97164, okay? All right, when you get to that, when you log in, you're gonna be able to see this screen, and I'm still showing the screen, correct, Andrew?
Yep, you're still, yep,
okay.
Absolutely.
So when you log in, you should be able to see this screen here. They'll say QA and polls, and type your questions and information along those lines. All right, so is there anybody not there?
So looks like we've only got a couple people there. So if you're sitting back and you're going like, nah, I'm not going to join, this is dumb, join.
Yeah, join us, yeah, because this is going to be good, because actually this is going to help us out. For our panelists will really appreciate some of the feedback. So come on, folks. So there we go. We got a few people joining in along those lines.
All right.
Sweet. All right, so all right, Andrew's going to share. We're going to test this out. We're going to share a kind of a fun poll to start with, to kind of get everybody kind of used to how this maybe works.
All right. So just launched the first poll here. So it's, if you could choose one superpower, what would it be? So go ahead and
yeah.
yeah, share your, go ahead and select your answer there, and then I'll share the results here real quick.
All right. So I'll stop
So,
sharing, Andrew, and then you can share and kind of show what we're seeing live. So go for it.
okay, got it.
All right.
Coming up here. Hopefully everybody can see the screen. Okay. Um, but yeah, so here's where we are. It looks like everybody wants to be able to fly. I've always found that interesting. Like that's like the main one that everybody always picks. I want to fly. And I just assume that it's because we all just want to go wherever we want, whenever we want. But then I'm like, well, can't you just do that by being invisible as well? And then you have all sorts of other cool things that come into like, so I don't know. Um, and you people who want to talk to animals, I assume you're all dog and cat people. So nobody wants to be invisible. Like I don't understand. That seems like the ultimate superpower to me, but I guess that's just me.
Yeah, I think everybody saw the Invisible Man. Maybe that's the problem. So
Well, yeah, maybe it is. I don't know. So
cool. So
anyway,
yep.
so I got one more. If we want to do one more quick icebreaker one, if that's cool.
Yeah, let's go for it.
All right. So this is always the thing that I always want to know. What Harry Potter house are you? There are a couple of other options there, but if you want to just go ahead and tell us which one you are. Ah, we've got a Ravenclaw, it looks like. An even split here. Okay. Okay. So 22% of people think that I'm a nerd. That's fine.
Oh, I didn't see that one.
Um, so we got some Gryffindors and some Slytherins, uh, and some Hufflepuffs. It looks like, and a few people who don't know who Harry Potter is. Okay. Well, very good. I'm a Ravenclaw in case anybody cares, but I'm sure no one does. But there you go.
There you go.
And by the way, all you people who think you're Gryffindors, you may want to take the test again.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Just
take
saying.
yes, exactly.
Might want to take the test again. Not everybody's a Gryffindor. All right.
Sweet. So
All
anyway,
right.
it's kind of how the poll is going to work. So we're going to have a couple more here throughout the panel piece of it. So just kind of pay attention to that one, and also then as you submit questions for the panelists as well today. So
Absolutely.
cool. All right.
So I'll go ahead and stop sharing there, Trent, and turn it back over to you.
Perfect. All right. All right. Looks like we tested this baby out. So we're going to talk about some Marketo shorts here really quickly. It's kind of a new thing we're adding, so it's going to be really uh, fly by the seat, so to speak. So a couple of tips, no tricks this month, just type of a deal. Just kind of give everybody kind of a kind of give us an idea of some things you may know and may have forgotten or may not even know about. So that's just kind of one of those things along those lines. So just kind of bring things to that point. So the first tip I want to talk about is Campaign Inspector. Um, if you have not used a Campaign Inspector, it is a cool little tool that Marketo has that just over the past couple of months, I've been using a lot lately for doing some troubleshooting for a couple of clients. It is an incredible opportunity. So under your marketing activities, just like on a tab called Campaign Inspector, you can actually look at what campaigns are firing, what campaigns are going on. You can do a search within those campaigns, the campaign inspector itself to even narrow some of it down with like a data, change data value or an update information along those lines to see what's firing from that standpoint. A couple of things too that's also pretty cool is that I discovered with one of the clients is that they had a lot of campaigns that were firing that they didn't even know that were going on and were causing some conflict. So we call those the lovely nasty Easter eggs, right? But they're kind of spoiled Easter eggs. So, but yeah, so it's kind of a great place to look at, especially if you have an instance that you've inherited and you try to figure out what's going on. There could be conflicting programs out there. I call them rogue programs, but things that from that standpoint. So if you haven't tried out the Campaign Inspector, do that one. But at the same time, also look at the campaign queue too, because if you have something being that's holding up in regards to your programs along those lines and not showing what's happening, you can also see kind of where things are at in the campaigns and the structure from that standpoint and what's firing from that perspective. So those are two little fun little tips along those lines. Another one is the preview URL generator. So I'm not sure if any of you have had people asking about, hey, can I take a look at that landing page before you go live with it along those lines? And they don't really have access to Marketo and you can't give them access to the URL because you haven't approved the landing page. Well, with this little, you can actually generate a preview link and actually send them that link, and they'll be able to see what that page looks like live without actually having access to Marketo and without the page being actually live, if that makes sense. So, or being fully approved. So it's it's fun little tip along those lines from that standpoint. You basically configure them under the landing page actions, URL tools, and you can generate that preview URL right from within that area. So fun little tip there as well. If you haven't had a chance to look at that one or play around with that, it's kind of fun, especially if you get people asking to look at those pages beforehand. Then kind of a bonus tip today, and also this is going to be a question I'll ask for everybody, so please chirp up and speak up. How many of you have now had your instances moved to the new MEUE, the new Marketo user interface today so far? I think a couple of you have. Ian, I know you have. Sam Watkins isn't with us, but he has. Anybody else?
Yeah, Drift also have the new user interface.
Okay. Anybody else? Cameron, Tiff, Britt, Crystal, any guys?
Nope, not yet.
Nope, not yet.
Nope.
Nope, not for me either.
Yeah. Well, okay, so good. So we'll probably talk about this next month because I'm sure there's a few more of you that might be there. But those that have, there are some interesting areas along those lines. Ian, I love you, Ian, man. Yeah. So one thing that they don't have is you can't click and drag on the new interface. So we'll talk about kind of how you can get around that until they implement that sometime next year. So we'll see how that goes. But one tip that I do like actually is the new global search in the interface. That's actually pretty cool along those lines. But so you have the ability to do a global search at the top and search your results to within. You can do extensive filtering to both inactive filters into your archive folders, things of that nature that you haven't had before in the past. So that's kind of a new bonus. But on the other hand, the drag and drop is the click and drag and drop is going away. So enjoy dragging and dropping, at least for the near term frame, while you're in the existing interface. So those are the bonus tips that I have today. So hopefully those will help you out. So the campaign inspector and maybe the campaign queue, as well as a preview generator, and this kind of this fun little tip here with the global search of the new user interface along those lines. So with that, we're not going to take any more time, but we're going to jump right over into our panel. I'm going to turn the time over to Andrew, who's going to be basically our moderator for the rest of the session today. So I will stop sharing. Oh, actually, I'll just do this here. So here's our panelists. We have Kate Adams, who is from Drift, who's the VP of Marketing there. So we appreciate Kate joining us today. And also Lynn Tan, who is the Senior Marketing Operations Manager at Drift, who is fully involved with all the database maintenance and keeping things in sweet and dreamy for Drift along those lines. And then, of course, everybody knows our fearless leader of Andrew, who will be leading that panel and discussion. And once again, because this is a panel discussion, we need everybody to be engaged and make conversation along those lines. So with that, turn the time over to you, Andrew, and I'll stop sharing.
All right, sounds good. Well, thanks, Trent. I appreciate it, and thanks always for the tips. That's what I'm here for is the tips. So, and also other things too. So, but if you go back to your Slido, so if you still got that open, we've got another poll that we're going to run here. So we're gonna open this up with a couple of questions here that have been supplied to us by Drift, and we kind of want to get a sense of where things are because we're going to talk database hygiene today. And I don't know about you, but I spend a lot of time cleaning up my database, probably more than I should, but that's just me. So so I've launched another poll for you. So take a look at that. Question is, how confident are you in the accuracy of your Marketo data? So go ahead and put that up there. In fact, I'll share the results here real quick, and so we can put that up on the screen for everybody to see. So looks like the bulk of you are somewhat confident in your database. So you're probably a lot like me. It's like, yeah, it's all right. there's some other things. Oh, one person's very confident. Who is that? Can you come over and clean up my database? That would be really nice. Jace, is that you? That's probably you, Jace, isn't it? No. No. All right. Well, sounds like to me, looks like everybody's kind of somewhat confident about the accuracy of your Marketo data. So I think that's probably fairly true. I know that that's kind of how I feel about it. Lots of it is good, but there are dark corners and dark alleys that I don't really want to go down in my database because I don't know what I'm going to find and what's there. But I think that's so. But for the most part, it's fairly actionable, fairly useful, right? Let's do another quick poll here. Tell me about the biggest challenge in marketing automation that you've got right now. So there's a few options here, kind of your tech stack integration or creating a central source of truth, um, segmentation or database hygiene, or maybe it's even just something else. Tell me kind of what you guys are thinking there. So it looks like the leader in the clubhouse at the moment is that central source of truth. So keep voting. I know we have a few more people on the line there who can go ahead and vote, so feel free to do so.
Oh, and if I'm gonna jump in really quickly. So we just had a couple of people who joined us. So really quickly, if if you're on your desktop, whatever, go to the following URL: Slido, SLIDO.com. And this is kind of where we do these polls at from that perspective. And then once you get there, we want you to type in the code what was it again?
97164.
Yeah, 97164. So go to slido.com and then type in the participant code is 97164, and you'll have access to those as well.
So go in and take a look at that. I'll leave the poll up for a little bit, and you can kind of take a look at it there. But looks to me like creating a central source of truth across all data sources is the winner here. And with the second place in database hygiene, it's true that both of those are kind of the yin to the other's yang, right? I know at Family Search where I work, we've got oh gosh, hundreds of different data sources in all sorts of different data silos that I'm trying to always query at any given time. And so, I mean, it having that single source of truth, it can be really hard, or at least getting to some measure of truth. So in terms of what's accurate and what data is correct. So I totally hear that. And of course, in order for that to work, you got to have good database hygiene, right? You got to have got to make sure that your data is as clean as it can possibly be. So, so I'm not surprised that those are kind of the two main challenges that that everybody has, because I know those are the two main challenges I have. So, anyway, so some good information here. So I think I'm going to go ahead and deactivate the poll here. Don't forget, you can come in here into the Q&A portion of Slido and type in your questions here. We'll see them up here on the screen, and you can even upvote them or downvote them. So you can even say that you like them, and if there's specific questions where you're like, yeah, I have the same question, go ahead and upvote it, and we can talk about it there. So and I'll be moderating those questions throughout the rest of the presentation. But let's go ahead and we're going to get into the meat of today's presentation. That's our discussion here with our two intrepid visitors from Drift. As Trent mentioned, we've got Kate Adams, who's the VP of Marketing at Drift and who's had a long and storied career as a proven marketing leader, and we're glad to have her here. And then Lynn Tan, of course, who is a Marketo power user. So she's a lot like most of us. We're in the trenches all day, and both excited about what Marketo can do and frustrated when it doesn't do what you want it to do. So Lynn, Kate, we're really, really glad to have you here. And thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you. Awesome to be here.
Yeah, thanks so much for having us. We're really excited to be here. And I love this. We've been doing a couple of these Marketo user groups, and this is a heck of an engaged group. You guys run a tight ship here, so this is excellent.
Thank you. That's all Trent. I'm the guy in the back drinking booze, so it's fine. So if you've got questions for Kate and Lynn, put them in the chat there in Slido, and let's have those. But I have a couple questions that I wanted to start off with, guys, and kind of get your thoughts on them, Kate and Lynn. So talk to me about database hygiene, and I know why it's top of mind for me because I'm a bit of an organizational freak, but why should it be top of mind for most Marketo admins these days?
Yeah, great question, Andrew. So one of the things that we looked at recently is that I was wondering specifically about, over the last 7 months, some could say 10, right, of the global health crisis that we've been in. We know that unemployment has changed, like those numbers have gone through the roof, right? And so one of the things that I was looking at, or that I asked the team to look at, was like, hey, what's going on within our database right now? And then more broader than that, we have a whole customer set. We have the privilege of working with a number of different customers, right? And so I was saying, like, what's it look like for our database, and what's it look like for databases, kind of all our customer databases as well. And one of the things that we found was that there has been an incredible surge, like 19% increase in bounces under like what we would categorize as changed the job or left the company since March of 2020. And so already, right, the stats from the experts in the field, I think Zoom Info talks about this, like your database is decaying annually at a rate of 30%. That was pre-COVID, right? So just think about that. That's just from March. You've seen a 19% increase in the changes around in just the bounces data in terms of all of the change job or left company email replies that you're getting. So I think now, one thing's for certain, like it's now more important than ever for 2 reasons. One, you've got that going on in your data. And 2, you guys know as marketing ops folks, all your marketing teams are struggling right now, right? Because all of the channels or tactics that they were going to go employ got cut by at the least 30%, right? Everything's digital. There's no more field events. There's no more trade shows. There's no more, like you name it, there's no more of it. There's no more direct mail. And so not only do you have all of this change happening within your database right now, but like you're now more dependent on email as a channel than you ever have been before. And so like, to me, that's why this is one of the things that keeps me up at night as a marketing leader.
Yeah, I think, for us, even in, in my job, we've had a similar thing, right? Where we were always reliant on email in the first place anyway, but ever since the pandemic hit, right? Since we do genealogy at my place, you can do that all online, but in order to get that help, you got to go online to get it. So we've had a significant uptick in how we handle that and having to keep that clean. Lynn, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think 100% agree with what Kay said. And the database hygiene is almost like the foundation for the marketer to do all the different email campaigns. And now the email and digital campaign is even in a more significant role than ever. So making sure your database is subject to the most relevant and active audience of your ICP profile, and make sure that we are getting smarter on like sending out from the message perspective, and also the cadence and frequency of how we're reaching to our database is become more and more critical. Yeah.
Yeah, totally, right. Because it's not just about the email channel anymore, right? It's about the web, the channel of the web. It's about Facebook, it's social media, WhatsApp, even, right? There's so many other channels, and in order for the data to really be usable in all those different channels, it's got to have that foundation of cleanliness for sure. Totally agree. So we obviously know why it's important, right? Because it's the, if the database is not clean, if you got garbage in, you're going to get garbage out, right? So Kate, Lynn, tell us, where do you guys start with database hygiene? What's been your experience, your practice there?
Yeah, I think just to start, I think looking at like the basic and the foundation of your database hygiene is critical, meaning start looking at your email deliverability. So look into your email performance report in Marketo in the last 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, and look at, is there an increase or decrease on your deliverability rate? So the benchmark for at least it's like at least 97%, but like we are always aiming for like 99, 100%. So first make sure that like looking at almost like a different snapshot on a time range on your email sending Marketo, like are you seeing an increase and decrease on your deliverability? If there is a decrease, then you got to do something on your database. Then the other thing that you should start looking at is your messaging in email in Marketo. So like avoid any common problems such as like sending from a no reply email address, or you have a heavy HTML text layout and design,
Right.
and you don't have much of a personalization in your email send, and you have like a mass both send at one time with one single message without further personalization. Like these are some of the red flags that may hurt your deliverability rate. So these are the things that you can audit and go through to make sure, especially around this time, like making sure the message is relevant become more important than ever.
Yeah, totally. Kate, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, my thoughts are related. I think Lynn did a great job looking at like the marketing lens of that. I used to manage the SDR organization, and I'm very closely aligned with our sales organization. And I'm sure that this group is well versed on kind of there's a stat that 60% or more of the AE's account executives' time is spent not selling, right? That they're not actually doing the selling. What they're doing is all these administrative tasks. So adding contacts into the database that they're reaching out to, maintaining their opportunity structure within whatever CRM you might be using. You go look at that from an SDR perspective. From an SDR perspective, time is money, right? They are like, I highly value them as people. So let me be clear. And I think if you do it right, they are the future of your organization. The SDRs that you hire today are going to be the account executives and the sales managers 5 to 10 years from now. But every minute that those folks, like that's just math, right? You reach out to this many people, you have this much of a response rate, you have this much of a meeting rate, and you have this much of an opportunity rate. That's just a math funnel. And so every time that they are sending to a record or a person, right, that is not clean or has inaccurate data of it, that is just more time. If they're SDR, it was like 40% of their time. It was like inverse of AEs. 40% of their time was spent not doing outreach or what they'd call non-revenue generating activities. And so if I can maximize the 60% of their time that they're using, right, and make them more efficient and more effective by providing to them reliable data, I think that's even more important. So that's kind of my take on that.
Yeah, right. It's not just a marketing thing, right? That database hygiene has to be is applicable for sales as well. And you're right. Like, if that doesn't happen, then you've got a bunch of glorified data entry people who don't like doing data entry. So at least that's been my experience with my
not only do they not like it, but they're not compensated on it. So there's no reason for them to want to do that, right?
Right. That's exactly right. So so it sounds to me like when we're starting, because the question was asked in the chat here, where should we start with Marketo database hygiene? It's really on that kind of deliverability thing. I maybe want to drill down into that just a little bit. When we talk about deliverability, there's all sorts of different things that kind of go into that, right? Both hard bounces, soft bounces, those kinds of things. How stringent are you, Lynn, as you're kind of in there on a day-to-day basis, how stringent are you on what qualifies as a hard bounce versus a soft bounce? Like where's the line of when you pull stuff out when you're like, that's no good? Or because I know some people are like, hey, if it bounces either hard or soft, I don't care, it's gone. And other people are like, well, if it's hard, obviously it's gone, but if it's soft, maybe a little bit. So where do you draw the line?
Yeah, so that's a good question. So I do actually follow up on some of the Marketo templates about tagging soft bounce and hard bounces based on the email deliverability and the signal that we get from those emails sent.
Right.
So Marketo does have a template where you can download to look at if someone in the last 90 days have a soft bounce signal, for more than at a minimum of 5 times and more, then you can set up a smart campaign in Marketo to update the specific field and the field that with the reason to say, I'm going to temporarily put this lead into a segment, call that inactive user or softbound user, and basically move this user into this cohort of audience. And then as soon as they have any activity such as visited web page, click link, or open an email, then you push them back into an active user and basically have this full circle of like maintaining your database in a real time. So same thing for hard bounce. If someone have an invalid email signal that we receive from sending out email, we will immediately put them into the email invalid bucket. And same thing if someone goes in and updated their email address, or if that email become active somehow, then we can move them back into the active buckets. And all of these attributes that I mentioned about invalids or bounces, we are also sync that over to our CRM. So this is also have the full visibility for all the end user in our CRM, so that when they are working on their routine and their reporting or their daily day in the life, they can also use that as an exclusion so that they don't have to go over those that we already cleaning up for them.
Yeah, those I think those those templates that you can program templates obviously that you can download in Marketo are really helpful for that. But that's great, kind of having that full life cycle on that on your hard and soft bounces, I think makes a big difference. That's great. I've got a client who was asking that question the other day, and so now I've got a good answer for her. So thank you, I appreciate that. Okay, so let's say that you've got deliverability kind of set up. You've got your your hard bounce, your soft bounce cycles. You kind of making sure that that kind of is set up on an automated basis. Kate, what do you do after that? And what does kind of next level database hygiene? What does that look like?
Yeah, so I will say too, just to add on to Lynn's answer there, our friends at ZoomInfo, Discover.org, who we partner with now and again, and we're also customers, but they have a great framework of how to think about that too, in terms of 3 buckets. There's the good, there's the bad, and then there's the unknown, right? And so the good is like exactly what Lynn's talking about. It's like those active people that are opening, clicking, they're responding through campaigns. The bad are those like hard bounce, look, this is false information. You run an email verification and it's not real. And so like you put that in the bad bucket. And then there's that unknown bucket, and really thinking about them, which is like, hey, these people don't seem to be responding. They're not really thinking about it. And so like, I think Lynn mentioned it a little bit with the soft bounce people, where that's what she's putting them into unknown. But I think you can go deeper than that, even in terms or wider than that, in terms of like, hey, look, I'm emailing these people and you need to look at what's right for your business. But look, it's been like 30, 60, 90, 7, 10, whatever it is right for your business. Right. I'm going to move this into unknown and email them less frequently until I do get a response or a sign of life, right? Or a pulse of what Lynn's talking about. But that wasn't answering your question. I was building.
Oh, no, that's fine. That's great. That's great. I think that's a best practice, right? That we all try and shoot for. But I like the way that you guys have kind of segmented it out, right? Like kind of good and bad and unknown. Mm-hmm. That's a really good way to separate that. I think that's good. Obviously everybody's going to have kind of their own system on that, but that's kind of a nice way to kind of set that up. So I like that. I appreciate that very much.
Yeah, and as for the what's next as it relates to database hygiene, I think like we're highly focused on email, but it's, as we all know, it's much broader than that, right? We're constantly at Drift, our data flow, it's pretty unique, right? I don't have forms on my website that go and collect all of this, where I'm collecting all of this information from people. In fact, what we try to do with every single offer that we have on our website is eliminate as much friction as we possibly can from getting the person what they need and what they want. And so when you come to our site and you register for a webinar, or you consume you decide all of our books are completely ungated, so you can read them on the site. But if you want the PDF version of that, we're happy to deliver it to your email inbox. And so we ask you for your email, and then we have this waterfall process that we go through later that Lynn actually built. That's really powerful, where based on that email address, then we go augment all of your data, name, company, employee size, industry, all these other things through Zoom Info. If Zoom Info does, or actually through Clearbit first, if Clearbit doesn't come up with a match, then we go to Zoom Info to augment there. If that doesn't match, then we actually send it out to a vendor of ours who's based in India who does like a manual augmentation if possible there. And if we
Wow.
still can't match, then we kind of hold it off. But that's kind of our data waterfall. And so it's much broader than just email addresses, right? We're validating
Right.
all email because I want my SDRs reaching out to director level and above titles in marketing and sales. I want to make the most of their time. So I think, I don't know, Andrew, if that answers your question, but I think that's what we do next.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Like, and that's an interesting kind of way to, to enrich all of that different data. I'm curious, as you go through that kind of process, what's the fallout on the back end? Like how many, after you've put somebody through that process, what's the percentage of people that you're like, man, we can't do Zim info, we can't do Clearbit, we sent it to the guy in India, he can't find anything anywhere. Like, what's the percentage of fallout there? I'm just curious.
The percentage of fallout is an interesting question. I think Lynn would answer that better, but I'll tell you that before this, like we were able to double the number of, we call them interested people,
Yeah.
because that's another kind of tirade that I could go on that like, I think marketing is misled because now we just acronymize, or everything's an acronym, right? You've got MQLs,
Right.
SQLs, SQOs, they're actually human beings on the other end. So
Right,
that's a fun
right.
fact and a good thing to remind your organization of. So like, we were actually able to double the number of interested people that we were able to surface to the sales and SDR organization as a result of building that waterfall.
Interesting.
But the fallout rate, Lynn, I don't know if you have that data on.
Yeah, I think it depends. If the email address is a company domain, we typically have a really high match rate to figure out from a Clearbit and Zoom Info perspective to find out there at least like some information like name or title. I don't have the number on top of my mind, but like for any email domain that is a Gmail personal email address, the match rates tend to drop. And I know from from our outsources in India, like their match rates is somewhere between 18 to 20%, like that they can find
Okay.
the name or information to enrich that personal email address.
Which
Yeah.
that is a really fun conversation to have, right? Because sales, in like 3 organizations I've been at, sales came to me and said, look, stop sending me these Gmails. This is ridiculous. And so I said, okay, great. You know what? I'm going to run some reports. I'll get back to you. And at my last organization, what we found was in half a year, we had closed $1 million worth of business from Gmail accounts. So I was like, so let me make this clear. You don't want to close $1 million worth of business because somebody told you that their preferred method of communication was gmail.com.
Right,
Like, that's just crazy, right? If you don't do that, you are leaving money on literally leaving money on the table for your org. It just seems nuts to me.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. And once you've got kind of more of this enriched data, right? We talk about the email address, but it really is kind of like the universal subscriber key. At the end of the day, right? You're using that data, that enrichment data, to provide a more personalized experience for the person on the other end, whether it's marketing providing it or sales or whomever it is, right? That's the thing that closes data or closes deals, right?
Yep.
So is that personalized
100%.
experience?
I mean, Ian says it in the chat, right? It's about building a relationship of trust. And I think he had said that when we were talking about sales, right? Because yes, 100%. If sales doesn't trust me, I'm dead in the water. I'm dead in the water, and I won't live long. That's for sure. So I'm VP of marketing focused on demand gen. So if sales does not trust demand gen, then like we got to call it a day. I got to pack my bags and move to another basement somewhere, I guess. But but the reality is like it's also about building trust with the buyer, right? And so building trust with the buyer means providing context with every interaction that I have with you to show you that I understand the problems that are ahead of you and that I have a solution to help you solve those problems.
Yeah.
And whether that's as a marketer or as a salesperson, that is paramount.
Yeah, I totally agree. I totally agree with that, right? It's got to be that partnership, and you got to make sure that that personalized data has, one place to kind of, live, and then give you everybody a chance to kind of work off that. I think that makes a ton of sense. Um, let me, we're about to run out of time here, so I want to make sure I give you guys a chance, Caitlin, to kind of talk a little bit more about Drift and what you guys do, and maybe what you can offer, and then don't go anywhere, anybody. We've got gift stuff to give away, and there's not very many of you, so chances of you winning are a little bit higher, so don't go away. So Caitlin, I want to give you guys a chance to kind of talk a little bit about Drift and about what you guys do and how you guys can help kind of the folks on the call.
Yeah, sure. So for those that don't know, the elevator pitch of Drift is that we're a revenue acceleration platform that brings together conversational marketing and conversational sales to remove the friction from the buying process today, right? Fundamentally, what we believe is that if we've learned nothing over the last 7 months, right, that like our worlds have collided, our consumer world and our business worlds have collided. Like I am literally, we're all working from or the majority of us are working from home right now, right? And so you are very likely to see me be on a call and have my 13-year-old daughter walk around in the background or my 2.5-year-old son pop up. And so for some reason, for a long time, what has happened in B2B is that we believe that it's okay to make people fill out a form and wait. Like that process, that buying process is all about waiting. Fill out you want to talk to me? Great. Fill out this form. Tell me like your first child's social security number, and then I will put you through my marketing automation platform, send you through my CRM, augment you with data, and then wait on one of my like 22-year-old SDRs to really get the message that it's time to follow up with you. And then we'll hound you for 72 hours until you tell me like to go away, right? When in the reality is you had a question that you wanted answered at that point, and in Amazon has shown you that you can in 2 clicks have any single product sitting on your front door in 48 hours or less, right? Why is it that we believe that because you're making a business buying decision that customer experience is okay, but when you are making a consumer buying decision that you should be able to access absolutely anything you want and have it within seconds, right? All personalized for you. And so really that's the problem that we're out to solve is as marketers and salespeople, our fundamental goal is to start and continue conversations for our businesses, but we've done everything that we possibly can to defer those conversations for later, as opposed to enable them for now. And so we're out to go solve that. And so we do that we do that on your website, we do that through email, and then we help enable that through video as well.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Lynn, any parting thoughts then from you?
Yeah, exactly what Kay said. Like we are very customer centric is in trying to create a personalized customer experience in real time. So as soon as someone is on your side, like we are actively engaged with you and with the enrichment on knowing like who you are and trying to serve you different message and in a more personalized way.
Yeah, I love that. I think, personalization, we've talked about it for years, as marketers and as marketing automation people that, that's really the new frontier, but there's so much complexity to it that, at least there has been over the last several years, but I think it's, we're all getting a lot better at it now. And, if we want to accelerate that revenue, Kate, like you said, it's about that personal relationship, and the more personal we can make it, the better off everybody is. So terrific. Well, Kate, Lynn, thanks so much for joining me today. We really appreciate having you here. These are great discussions. Like we really enjoy these kinds of things. They, as opposed to kind of just sitting around and listen to a PowerPoint presentation, we kind of, all get to know each other and know each other's business. So thanks so much for joining us. We can't say enough, and we really, really appreciate it.
Yeah, this was amazing. And this was really, I love this. You guys are the only mugs that are actually doing this in terms of like not having a PowerPoint presentation to just go and run with. And to be honest, as a presenter, that gets really old too. So this was a lot more fun. I'll be clear.
Yeah, totally agree. Totally agree.
And
Well, sounds
Cameron
good.
and Ian, thank you so much for being customers. Sorry, just a quick shout there.
Oh yeah. They're customers there. So that's great. Appreciate that very much. I'm going to turn the time over to Trent because I've got a 10-year-old like right there who apparently needs my help with his video games. So Trent, take it away.
All right, so we'll be good. So we're going to jump in to do the drawings. But before I do that one, whoever's logged in as digital events, I need to know who that really is because otherwise we're going to take you off the drawing board. So digital events, who logged in as digital events? Rachel. Okay, no problem, Rachel. Good deal. That's all right, no problem. So I'll just type in your name here. All right, so let me share the screen here and we will draw for the drawing. So this is a fun little tool. Everybody seen it, called Wheel of Names. Can't beat that. So we're going to draw. It's all random, so I have no clue. I just type people's names in here, with the exception of Andrew, myself, Kate, and Lynn. And Caitlin, I'm sorry, we have to go back to the drawing board somewhere to get something for free. All right, so here we go. This is for the swag bag with everything along those lines. And Caitlin from Drift, who's also joined us, she can also provide more details what it is. But here we go. The winner is... No, Ian. Oh, Ian. Nope, Kana.
No, it's Kana.
Oh, Kana. Look at that. All right. So Kana. So really quickly, so I'll reach out to you, Kana, or actually get your email address because they're going to need to know kind of what sizes of material, like T-shirts and things of that nature, they need to get you, right? So if you want, Kana, you can send the private chat to Caitlin Steele if you need to. With that information and an address for her. Otherwise, I'll just connect the two of you from that standpoint. All right. All right. Good job, Kana. All right. Now these are for the 320.
Oh, did Trent? Okay, there he went. So this is for the gift card. Okay, it looks like Michael is the winner of the gift card there. Trent, if you can hear us, your connection, I think, might have gone a little slow. So, and it looks like it may have frozen.
How's that? Is that better?
We can hear you now. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So with Michael, so we'll do that.
So congratulations, Michael. You've got yourself a gift card.
All right. The next one is Cameron.
Cameron. Well done, Cameron.
Good job, Cameron. So I got so far I know both of those email addresses, so that's good. So we're good. 2 for 2. Here we go, and then we'll get that sent off. I'll send it to you.
By the way, you're not. If you wanted to, Trent, you're not sharing your screen, but if you don't want to because of connection, that's totally fine.
Oh, disconnected me there. Huh? Okay, we'll do this again. All right.
Yeah.
How's that?
Okay, that works.
All right. So for the last one here, for the last drawing, last 20 gift card.
Drum roll, please.
Oh, Brittany. Congratulations, Brittany. So yeah, so Brittany, I'll connect you. So for Michael, Brittany, that's right. Woohoo! We'll send you. I'll send the links and connect you with the Marketo folk person who actually will send these out to you, and then they'll get you set up for that digital gift card. So congratulations, y'all.
Thanks.
Thank you.
All right. Well, Trent, you want to wrap us up?
Yeah. So thanks, everybody. We are planning to have another meeting on November the 18th.
18th, yeah.
So,
We do actually have one other quick poll if you guys are up for it. So, and this is about December. So if you guys have a minute, take the poll. We want to know if we should hold a Marketo user group meeting in December. So go take that poll real quick. Let us know what you think. We have 1 vote for yes. Couple of votes, 3 votes for yes. So if you got a minute, go ahead and do that before you take off.
Yep. And then if you have any other you know, want to let Andrew and I know, then we'll get as well kind of your thoughts along those event for a kind of a meeting for December. So. All right. Well, we appreciate everybody being here. Thanks again to Kate and Lynn for being with us. Thanks to Drift for the participation and also the giveaways. And thanks everybody for joining us today. So have a great rest of the day, and we'll talk with you guys later.
Okay. Thanks, everybody.
Here.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.